Hello again. We're talking about the past and the future box. So it's been a while since I covered this box. I just wanted to go back and see if anything clicked again. It's going to be this way for, I think, for a long time for this hunt until someone finds a box. So I'm hoping, still think someone can find a box this spring, summer. But for the other ones, we're just going to have to keep going over, keep looking over, keep reading, keep rereading, keep looking at clues, with the emphasis on not staying stuck in the same pattern. So for me, every time I do the word search, I keep coming to the same conclusion. So I reread the text and tried to pursue a few different routes. Spoiler alert, I didn't really get anywhere fantastic. I wanted to look in another state besides California. And I'll go ahead and get into that. Okay, so rereading the text, I keep asking myself, why am I so sure it's in California when my rule for the rest of the book is if he mentions a state or a location in the text, it's not there because it'd be just too easy and someone would have found it by now. But for this box, it's one of the few ones where I'm so sure it's in California. So rereading it again, trying to go over it's been long enough that I've looked at this that I think I can try to move away from some of my biases, right? So he talks about, it's one of the very first lines. One morning, talking on the phone to Seth Gould, looked out an inviting sunny day, right? So it's interesting that he puts that in there, right? Doesn't really add much to the story, an inviting sunny day through the window of my house. Then it continues on that, the box, he describes it as a picture on the opposite page. Let's see, we talks about how it's, reflecting. That's one thing that a lot of people zoom in on, that it reflects a state of gold, right? And that's at the bottom of page 224. So as he's writing this book, he says he often looks over at the box, and its surface would reflect a state of gold from the sunshine through my window, right? So, to me, it seems like there's something, because he's saying the sunshine is one morning, right? And we know how weather works. It can't be sunny all the time. Although if you live in California, and I did live in California for, 2 separate periods of time for about a year each, year and a half. It was sunny most of the time, right? I was in Southern California. So and that's where I think he lives. So he could say that, even though the beginning says one morning, sunny day, now he's talking about, as I was writing the book, right, over a period of, not 5 years he actually wrote it, because he talks about in an interview how, 1 year was this, 1 year was that, 1 year. So probably 2 or 3 years of writing the book. Its surface would reflect a state of gold from the sunshine through my window. Again, I don't think it really adds much to the story. It just seems significant to me. And that's one thing that it's got to be California, it's got to be California. But if we want to expand our mind and think of, well, what else could it mean if not California? So you could take this a few different ways. You could look at, on a map, right, where is California reflected? Well, no other states really look like California. So you could reflect over a border, right? Which, if you go north, that would leave you Oregon. If you go east, that would give you Nevada, or more down toward the south, that would give you Arizona. So is it one of those? I don't like using Arizona because the 4 fence states are New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana. That's like right next to it. So I don't like saying, okay, one's in these 4 and then one's in Arizona. It's just too close to me. Nevada, I guess I could see Nevada. I just don't see a lot of other clues lining up with it. And Oregon, I really don't like Oregon. Why don't I like Oregon? I just don't like, I don't know, I just, irrational fear of Oregon, I guess. If you expand it a little bit more, reflecting, you look at, so I started going down this rabbit hole of what cities are both in California and in Washington, and there's a few. Pasadena is one. There's like a Pasadena everywhere. Redmond is another one, and I'm tying in a clue of Excel, right? Again, because I'm reading through the text, I'm thinking what sentences stick out. But it's a game I'm pretty sure you can excel at. That sentence has always stuck out. Most of the people I know, they use it to, okay, you're supposed to put this into Excel. I don't know if that really makes the most sense to me, especially because all the Excel people, they haven't really like gotten anything amazing out of it. And I mean, anyways, I'll stop there. But what if Excel means something else, right? So then I went like Excel Excelsior, right? Which is what, Latin for moving north or always moving northward or something. It's a New York State motto. Do we think this is in New York? I really don't. Some people can say that they think it's in New York. Um, could we think of moving north of California? There's Oregon again. I don't like Oregon. So let's keep moving north to Washington. If you think Excel, Excel was a huge flagship product, huge product for Microsoft. Microsoft is headquartered currently in Redmond, I believe, and there's a Redmond in California. So if you're reflecting and you're moving north and it's Excel, that's like three things pointing to Washington. I don't like Washington. I think I don't like Washington any more than Oregon, but I don't want to keep my biases from presenting information out to the viewers, to you guys who are watching. So, I mean, a lot of people have said Olympic Park for passing the Future Box. I don't really think that that's the case. Looking in Washington, if you look at like the least popular, because Washington has a place called the Enchantments, right? Very, very beautiful. The photos are amazing. I have a problem with them. The same problem I have with my area in California, Northern California, the Wilderness Alps, Trinity Wilderness Alps, is that it's so remote. It's too far remote. And plus, with the enchantments in Washington, there's a lot of fees associated with it, parking fees, park passes, overnight fees. It's a little bit too monetary for me, and it's super popular. If I'm looking in Washington, if I'm looking at least popular places, the Gifford Pinchot, if I'm pronouncing it right, Gifford Pinchot National Forest, that area looks really good. And if you want to tie into, your tallying cars, traffic cars, there's a mountain called Tolmie, Tolmie. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Tolmie Mountain, Tolmie Peak is what it is. And we like peaks, right? There's nothing I can see with car. I mean, there's a carpenter. Nothing about tallying. Interestingly enough, AI, if you ask AI for a tally trail, it'll give you a tally trail in Washington. But that's because AI is pulling a tally trail that's in Montana near a similar like Mount Adams, and so it's crossing it over. So AI is useless in there. Got me excited for all the 5 seconds until I verified it. Always verify your AI finds. But again, trying to not go too deep into the word search. The only thing I did with the word search today is trying to look at cars, traffic, tally, because again, if you're looking for the text, right, and that was my focus today, was let's take a break from the word search, let's look at the text. There's 3 or 4 things that stick out to you. One of them is the repeated discussion of the sunny day and the state of gold, right? It's very in the beginning, one morning, as we're talking to Seth, it draws your attention to it, sunny day, all right? And then the next page, 224, as I'm writing this book, surface would reflect the state of gold from the sunshine. So that's 2 things about sunshine. Then Excel always sticks out, right? And again, is it just one sentence to tell us to put into Excel? I don't know. Could it be a Microsoft thing? Which, I kind of like the hint. Okay, Excel was one of their, premier flagship products that, really brought them a lot of success. Microsoft has strong ties to California, even though Microsoft was created in New Mexico, but I don't like using New Mexico because it's, again, one of the 4 fence states. And then the last bits are grandma and grandpa in lawn chairs tally all the traffic. So, I did briefly go into the word search looking for, traffic. There's only 3 F's in there, right? There's an F in 5. There's an F, there's an F in 5. There's an F in the 5 clues. And then there's another F somewhere. I think it might be unused. But, I mean, and they're not even close to each other, right? So that kind of rules out traffic. For cars, there's 10 C's, so it was easy for me to track them down because there's like a bunch of A's and a bunch of R's and a bunch of S's. So if you track down the C's, there's 10 C's. There's not, in all the places that I could see, and you can double check this very easily, there's a few CA's together, but there's only one CAR that's 1 space away, and that's bottom right where that's basically right above Sapphire and Quarry, right in that area. You can force a cars there. Does it mean anything? Does it get me anything? No. Didn't really see any tallies either, which would be, I would go, if you're trying to find the tallies, you could look for the L's or the Y's would probably be an easy one to find. But that's such a strong line there. Grandma and Grandpa would sit in lawn chairs and tally all the traffic, as happy as if basking in the heavens, which I do like. I mean, again, I don't like the Tahoe solve, but I like that they're using heavenly in there. I just think that we should focus more on the tally all the traffic and the basking. Basking is a definitely it's a choice of a word there. So, and as we come to the end of this video, I was hoping to have more for you. I sat down with the best intentions. I was excited at certain points, and then it all kind of fell apart. If you're looking in Washington, if you're looking in Oregon, which again, if you're going to reflect California, I still think you have to stay on the West Coast, because I'm getting more and more confident in my other solve locations. Right, I'm really locking in on the Mid-Atlantic for the AT Trail. Really locking in on either Colorado, Wyoming, probably more Wyoming for Fenbox. Really locking in on Arkansas. So those are kind of three that are keyed. If you have the Past and the Future in Washington or Oregon, now you have two wide open spots. You've got Southern California wide open, which is a huge population center in LA, and you've got the Great Lakes area, right? That's why I like Northern California as a solve, because you draw in midway through the West Coast. You draw in the two population centers of LA and up north in like Portland, Oregon, and Washington, Tacoma, Washington. You draw those both in with using Northern California as a halfway point. So that leaves the last big gap is in the Great Lakes, and it all fits so nice. But it's time to kind of think outside the box. If you've been going down one rabbit hole like I have for months and months at a time, it's you're only going to crack it by thinking outside the box. So, or by spending a ridiculous amount of time grid searching. So I'm going to start looking in Washington more, not in Olympic, because Olympic is too much of part one for me. So I'm really looking in Washington State. I'm looking in Gifford Pinchot National Forest, because one, it's a national forest versus national park. Two, it's right by the 5, which is the California State Divider that I still like, and it's got pretty easy access. As far as popularity, I did a few population studies of like the most popular trails in Washington, and the enchantments are off the chart like popular, which I mean they should be. They're beautiful, right? I really want to go. I want to force it to be a solve so I can go and check it out, because I want to go do a hike there. And also the money, a lot of the places up there cost fees, and I do think that, when he was asked, he had a little bit of a pause, but I do think he intended it to be free access. It's just what I'm going off of. So I do like Gifford Pinchot. Someone will correct me on how to pronounce that. There's a few, was it Mount was it Rainier that's down there, but that's kind of far from the road, so I want to stick to smaller parks and trails that are closer to, and there's a bunch of trails that work out. Looking at Tommy Mountain, and there's a toll gate trail, so I might check those two out. In Gifford Pinchot, there's some of the trails that stuck out just based off of popularity and where they are near the roads. I mean, Clearwater, Walput, Pewitt Pass, Silver Star, Trapper Creek. Those are just some names. And I'll do my due diligence just because I brought it up, and just because it's a little bit of a rabbit hole. I'm gonna fight it the whole way. I'm not gonna be thrilled about it. I don't know why. I still like Northern California, but hey, if something tells me to look in Washington, I'll do my best to explore it out and put forth the case points. All right, so to recap, why we're looking in Washington, because California's named, so that means it's not going to be in California. We're looking to reflect it, and we're not looking easily, because if you reflect over a border, Oregon, Nevada, and Arizona would be easy reflects. So let's take it one step further, because I think that's the way to do it. You find a first level clue, you want to look at the second or third level. So reflecting even further would be Washington. You're not reflecting over a border, you're reflecting over Microsoft, right? And through common town names, right? So Microsoft, why are we looking at Microsoft? Because of Excel. And so we're looking at Redford, so that brings us to Washington. So now we're looking at Washington. A lot of land there, a lot of national forests, national parks, wildlife management areas. wildlife forests, but of course you want to try to avoid national parks, especially where there's a lot of restrictions. So that's going to lead us to a national forest, and we want to pick a least popular one. We don't want one that's super crowded, right? So that's going to bring us to Gifford, Pinchote, and there's a bunch of trails and options to look into. So that's what I'll be spending some of my time doing. Yeah, that's a short one. Nothing really groundbreaking here. Just kind of putting forth the case for Washington. Eventually, I'll have to put forth the case for Oregon, even though I don't want to. Don't know why. All right, that's it, guys. Yeah, bye.
Now listen, all you treasure hunters, searching all around for plunder. Do you need some help to be your best? There's something that you're trying to find, but you're about to lose your mind. So come on, listen in to Estes Quest. Estes Quest, the show where he'll be sharing clues. Estes Quest will chase away your searcher's blues. He's solving puzzles with a smile. He'll help your theories pass the trial. He's welcoming you here to be his guest. Now listen close and you'll be told the clues to where he's hiding gold. So come on, listen in to Estes Quest. Come on, listen in